channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this little bandana for your American Girl doll. It's super easy to make and it doesn't take a long time either, and it's a really fun project, so yeah. Anyways, let's just get straight into the video. Okay, so for this bandana you'll be needing a size 3 weight yarn. The one that I'm using today is the Lion brand Baby Soft yarn, and the color that I'm using is Twinkle Print. It's this white yarn with little color specks in it, and it's so pretty and it's also so soft, so I definitely recommend this yarn. And then you'll also be needing a size G or 4mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a tapestry needle. So you're going to be starting by making a slip knot with your yarn, and then just put the loop onto your hook, and you're going to chain 3. Now you're going to skip those first 2 chains, and you're going to go into the last one over and do 3 double crochets into the same chain. And then you're going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into that same chain. And then you can just go ahead and pull the tail of your yarn a little bit tighter to fill up that gap in the middle. But now you're finished with row 1, and for row 2 you're going to chain 2 and turn. And then you're going to start by doing 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. And then you're going to skip those next 2 double crochets and do 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space. And then you'll just chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into that chain 2 space again. Then you're going to skip the next 2 stitches and do 2 double crochets into the very last stitch of your row. So now you're done with row 2, and for row 3 you're going to chain 2 and turn. And again, you're going to start by doing 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. And then you can see that after that next double crochet, there's this little gap from where we did 3 double crochets and skipped those 2 stitches. There's a little hole. So you're going to be going into there with your hook and doing 3 double crochets. Then after that, skip the next 3 stitches and go into that chain 2 space and do 3 double crochets. And then chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into that same space. So now, as you can see, we're going to go into another gap here. So it's after those next 3 double crochets, there's a gap. And we're just going to be doing 3 double crochets into that space, just like on the other side. And then you'll just end off by doing 2 double crochets into the very last stitch of that row once again. So now for row 4, you're going to chain 2 and turn. And then you're going to start by doing 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. And then as you can see, there's this little hole right here, right next to where we just worked. So you're going to do 3 double crochets into that gap. And then after those next 3 double crochets, there's another gap. So you're going to do 3 double crochets into that gap as well. And then after that, we have our chain 2 space. So in there, you're going to do 3 double crochets. And then chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into the same space. And then after that, after those next 3 double crochets, there's a gap like we were working into before, so you're going to do 3 double crochets into that gap. And then there's another one, you kind of have to pull it apart a little to see, but after that next cluster of 3 double crochets, there's one more gap in this row, so you just do 3 double crochets into there. And then there's only 2 stitches left in your row, so you're going to skip one of them and do 2 double crochets into the very last stitch. So now the next rows are all going to be pretty much the same as this one, except every time there's going to be one more gap on each side before that chain 2 space. So you start by doing 2 double crochets in the very first stitch and do 3 double crochets into every gap up until the chain 2 space. And then in there you do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, and then you work into every gap along the row until you only have the 2 stitches left, and you do 2 double crochets into the very last stitch. So you're basically, that's kind of the idea for the row. It gets to be a little bit bigger every time, but you're going to keep repeating those same steps until you have a total of 8 rows. We've got 4 right now, so that's just 4 more rows you've got to do. So I'm going to meet you back here when I've got my 8 rows so that I can show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now I am back and I've got my 8 rows, so you can see that the bandana has definitely gotten bigger and now it is the perfect size for our doll's head. So now we're just going to have to make the little straps on the sides so that it can tie under her hair and stay on her head. So to do that, at the end of your 8th row, instead of fastening off, you're just going to go ahead and chain 40, and this will be the first of those little side straps. And then once you've got your 40 chains, you're just going to go ahead and cut a tail with your scissors. And then pull through the loop on your hook to create a knot, and pull that knot pretty tight because now we're just going to cut off most of the tail so that it's not just hanging there, but you don't want the knot to come undone either. And now we've just got to make this strap on the other side, so you're going to go into that very last stitch on the other side of your bandana, and then just grab your yarn, and you're going to want to make a slip knot before we insert it in there. And just put the slip knot onto your hook and pull up a loop, and then use the yarn connected to the ball of yarn and just chain 40 once again. And then when you've got your 40 chains, you can just go ahead and cut a tail with your scissors and pull through the loop on your hook to create a knot, and pull that knot pretty tightly because now we're just going to be cutting off most of the tail and you don't want it to come undone. And so now we've got most of the bandana done. Actually, we've got the whole thing done. The only thing left to do is to weave in the ends, and there are only 2 ends to weave in, so just go ahead and tuck those in. But once that is done, you will be done with your little bandana for your American Girl doll. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And make sure that you comment down below any crochet or knitting ideas of clothing items for dolls, because I would be super happy to make any new patterns. And yeah, anyways, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!